Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. This is going to be a video specifically for ISC Class 12 board exams and of course for ISC Class 11 about how to do the comprehension and summary, and then we will take a look at a comprehension passage taken from the specimen paper, so that essentially to decode how to approach the comprehension. And I have always believed, and it's entirely up to you, I believe that if you read the passage during the 15 minutes of reading time and attempt that question first, it is fresh in your mind. Otherwise, you will be spending at least 5 to 6 minutes in between your exam time, the writing time, in order to read the passage. So I think it makes more sense. It is more intelligent, more sensible approach to do that during the reading time, instead of trying to read the essay topics, etc., which you can do even during the exam itself. Okay, take one look at which topic you're going to write the essay on, and that's the end of the thing. Do the comprehension is my advice, entirely up to you. There is no hard and fast rule that you need to go in order. You can attempt whichever question you want to attempt first, except that you need to not juggle the order between the questions. That's the only thing. For example, if you're doing directed writing, you should do proposal writing immediately after that. It's not like proposal writing, you do it at the end of the paper. Don't do that. Don't confuse the examiner. So what do you do as far as the comprehension and the précis writing, the summary of 100 words is concerned? Okay, so what are the points that you need to bear in mind? Let's look at the first 4 points that you need to bear in mind. First, your vocabulary, okay, is important. Many of you who have a reading habit will find some of these words pretty easy, or at least familiar. Okay, it will not kind of be ki bouncer hai, pata hi nahi chala ki kya matlab hai. It won't be that kind of a case. But if your vocabulary is not very good, if you are used to understanding English literature in Hindi, then there could be a problem, because this won't be your language of comfort. Okay, your 6 marks depend on that, on vocabulary. The first 2 questions, in which there are three, both of them are in a sense linked to how strong your vocabulary is, and that's precisely what reading comprehension is meant to test. Okay, so if you are not able to, by chance, if you know 4 words but 2 words are seeming a bit doubtful, what you need to do is to make an intelligent guess. If you're not able to understand related to the passage and try to make an intelligent guess, I don't think there will be very tough words. When we go through the passage, it will give you an idea about the kind of words that will come, and then you can do a reality check. क्या मुझे इस word का मतलब मालूम है या नहीं? अगर नहीं है, तो can I make an intelligent guess is the question you need to ask yourself. You need to answer. Okay, so that is for every individual. It's not for me to answer on your behalf. Okay, so that's the first point. Don't ask people, give me a list of words that can be asked. How would anyone know what can be? It can be asked from fiction, non-fiction, anywhere, right? So it comes from reading habit. And many of you, unfortunately, and I must say this because I don't believe in kind of beating up around the bush and saying only the nice things. Oh, you are my greatest and this thing, aapka support hai. I will say things the way, because that's the way I'm trained to be. Okay, we speak the truth. Many of you say, "Yaar, Hindi mein nahi bol sakta." I know, for your information, English, Hindi, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam. I know 5 languages. So in that sense, many people are much more qualified. So don't make a big this thing just because you know Hindi well and you know a bit of English. So don't make that. In fact, I would advise you to learn many more languages. I wish I knew many more languages than the 5 that I know. Okay. In the second question, where the word meanings are tested, try to understand if it is a noun or a verb or an adjective, and try to use it in the same format. Okay, that's something which is very important, in the sense that you need to understand in what sense. Again, when I'm reading the passage, I'll tell you what I mean by that. Okay, questions need to be answered to the point. You don't need to write too much. See what is the question, see what are the instances which kind of support that particular question, and answer only that. You don't need to write 200 words for something like this. Okay, write it in your own words. Don't copy paste. Wo sab din gaye that you would do in class 5 or 6 or 7. You are in class 12. You're not supposed to copy paste. You need to Understand and write it in your own words. However, use the keywords which are there in the story, in the passage, so that you include the main points from the passage, whatever. However, ensure that you use the keywords or the most important words from the passage. Final point, in the 15 minutes, give the passage a quick read. Also read the questions so that the first two questions you can solve in the first 15 minutes of reading time. So that before you start itself, you know, okay, ye 6 mark to mere pocket mein aa gaye. So that is something important. One question will be about idioms, at least going by the specimen paper. Idiom matlab a kind of a muhavra, loosely translated, idiom proverb. Idiom is something which, again, if you are not into reading, you may find it a bit of a googly. At my age, I find some idioms confusing, and I will tell you which one it is. In fact, there is a friend of mine, very, very big shot industrialist from Chennai, whose company does a lot of work for the United Nations and in Africa, etc. And of course, in India. In India, he undertook one of the biggest projects in India in recent years. He would, I mean, whenever he would call for something, but there would be times he would call and say, just shooting the breeze. And I would wonder, what is this shooting the breeze? I just called to shoot the breeze. I would wonder, what is this? Because this is not something which I was familiar with. And then I checked. It means to just have a light-hearted, casual conversation. Okay, that's what it means. You know, it's like, you know, and then I thought, okay, I linked it. You know, you're just sitting there doing nothing. There is this breeze flowing and you're just kind of, you know, idhar udhar ki baatein kar rahe hain. That's what it loosely kind of translates to. So that's what idioms can be. If you don't know the meaning, you may not be able to know the meaning. That's the way it would be. So what I have done is, I have made a list of 20 idioms. I'm not saying that ye idioms aapko question paper mein aayenge, but this will give you an idea about how to use your mind, or at least be familiar with some of the idioms. If you get one of them, well, we are very lucky. So let's practice some idioms. The first one, bite the bullet. You may be familiar with this. It means to face a painful or difficult situation with courage, bravely. Bite the bullet. Now, it does not, always remember, an idiom is not what it means literally. This does not mean it literally. However, if you bite the bullet, you will swallow the cyanide. So you will face a very difficult kind of a situation. When Sri Lankan LTT tigers used to attempt suicide, try to kill themselves by swallowing the cyanide, right? So it's also akin to, you know, facing the situation. Example, Meena did not want to face the tough interview, but she had to bite the bullet and do it. You know, even though she knew it was a tough interview and she was very reluctant, but she had to bite the bullet. Pull someone's leg. Now, again, this is something which many of you would be familiar with. To tease or joke with someone in a very playful manner. Example, my neighbor has a habit of pulling my leg all the time. Hit the sack means to go to bed. Okay. After studying for 5 hours, Lokesh decided to hit the sack. Okay. Ki aaj khatam, ab main so raha hu. Break the ice, to start a conversation in a social setting and make people feel comfortable. That, you know, it's a little awkward. No one knows what to talk, and here I come and I decide to break the ice. It does not mean to break the ice and put it in your cola. No, it means that you are making it comfortable and talking about something which everyone can engage with. The chemistry teacher told a funny story to break the ice on the first day of the class. Spill the beans, to reveal a secret. और इसकी की तरह एक और आएगा, मैं थोड़ी देर में बताऊंगा. To reveal a secret accidentally or intentionally. You know, he decided to spill the beans. The head boy spilled the beans about the surprise that had been planned for the teachers. He spilled the beans. He kind of revealed it. He was not meant to, intentionally or unintentionally. Burn the midnight oil, to work hard late in the night. Okay, Rajni burned the midnight oil to prepare for her final exams, like many of us are doing now. I don't burn the midnight oil. I go to bed early and I get up very early in the morning. Jump on to the bandwagon, to adopt a popular trend or activity. Everyone started investing in cryptocurrency, so he also decided to jump on the bandwagon. So उसने भी उसमें शामिल हो गया. Throw in the towel, to give up. You know, मुझसे अब और नहीं होगा, or admit defeat. After losing 3 elections in a row, Harun threw in the towel. You know, the particular politician said, अब मैं election नहीं लड़ूंगा. He threw in the towel. Again, as I said, it does not mean literally. Cut to the chase, to get to the point without unnecessary details. You know, come to the point straight. Just I keep saying, In an essay, don't build uska sama mat bando, come to the point straight. We don't have much time, so let's cut to the chase and discuss the main issue. Under the weather means you're feeling unwell. Rakesh could not attend school today because he was actually feeling ka zarurat nahi. He was under the weather. Feeling ka zarurat nahi. Isko kaat do. Okay. Kick the bucket, to die. His neighbor kicked the bucket after a long illness. Hit the nail on the head, to describe something exactly or be absolutely correct. You hit the nail on the correct. The point that you made is absolutely correct. The marketing manager's presentation on the company's losses hit the nail on the head. He didn't kind of, beat around the bush, if we had worked hard, we could have made profits. If we had done this thing. He said, these are the three people because of which losses have been incurred. These are the three reasons because of which losses have been incurred. He hit the nail on the head, came to the point straight without beating around the bush. That's what he did. Let the cat out of the bag. Now, this is similar to spilling the beans. Let the cat out of the bag to reveal a secret. She let the cat out of the bag about the surprise party before it had even started. Blessing in disguise, something that seems bad at first, but actually turns out to be a positive thing. Richa being asked to leave the job was a blessing in disguise because she found a better job soon. When she was fired from the job, it looked, मेरे साथ तो बहुत गंदा हुआ, बहुत बुरा हुआ. Lekin it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because she found something, a better paying job, which was closer to her hometown, right? So that is something, a blessing in disguise. Barking up the wrong tree. What does it mean? We are not talking about dogs. To make a wrong assumption or pursue the wrong course of action. If you think Chaitanya stole your book, you're barking up the wrong tree. That it's not Chaitanya who stole your book. You are accusing him wrongly. You are making a mistake about the identity of the real culprit, right? Someone else is the who stole your book, not Chaitanya. So you're barking up the wrong tree by accusing him of the theft. Cost an arm and a leg, something very expensive. This new smartphone cost me an arm and a leg. वो iPhone में बोलते हैं ना, kidney बेच के iPhone खरीदा kind of a thing. So here the actual idiom is, it cost me an arm and a leg. It means to say that, very, very expensive. Throw caution to the wind, to take a risk without worrying about the consequences. He threw caution to the wind and invested all his money in the stock market. जितना भी पैसा था stocks पे लगा दिया. He was taking a big risk. Okay. Beat around the bush, to avoid talking about something directly. Sometimes यहाँ पर beat about the bush भी use करते हैं, but around is considered more correct English wise. Okay. To avoid talking about something directly, stop beating around the bush and tell me what happened. The ball is in your court. It's your turn to take action. The buck stops here. The ball is in your court. The ball is in the Prime Minister's court. It is for the Prime Minister to now take the decision, no one else. Don't cry. Don't cry over spilt milk. Don't waste time being upset about something that has already happened. Don't cry over spilled milk. Try to study better next time. So, there is no point regretting over what has happened or what has not happened. Now is the time for you to make amends. So, जो हो गया, जो बीती बात हो गई, उस पर रोने का फायदा नहीं है. How does an idiom like this come? When the दूध उबल के पूरा निकल जाता है, उसके ऊपर रोने का फायदा नहीं है. जो हो गया, वो हो गया. That's how an idiom like this, a muhavra like this comes. So, okay, so that's how the origin of this thing. I just want to point out something which has been bothering me a lot. Yesterday, there was an extremely rude comment by somebody. I don't want to take his names. I don't think he's worthy of that attention. Who said something very rude, but anyway, I don't want to get into that. But one of the things he said was, this was in reference to the phrasal verbs video, where obviously I had my mobile phone in hand while I was writing the story, the answers. Obviously, the implication was that, you have written it down and then you're writing. I just want to clarify two things out here. The answers are written by me. Okay, no one else comes and gives me the answers. I write the answers on my mail and I keep it with me because I don't want to make a mistake while I'm recording. Okay, I hate making mistakes, as anyone should. Number two, when I'm reading so close, my vision is not very clear. Some of the words sometimes come across as hazy. Okay, I'm not 17 years old. Okay, obviously with age, eyesight deteriorates. So when you don't see it clearly, it's quite possible that I may end up making a mistake if I don't read the sentence very clearly. Okay, So I don't want to make a mistake. So I want to be doubly sure, so that that's why I keep it in my hand, so that I ensure that I write the correct answer thing, which is why if you saw the do and that do as directed, I typed it out because I do not want to make a mistake while I'm writing, because it's quite possible that some alphabets may not be very clear while I'm reading so close to the smart board. That's kami mujh mein hai. It's my eyesight problem. I deal with it. All I'm saying is show some empathy. I don't compel anyone to see my channel. It doesn't bother me whether 3 people see or 30 people see. But whoever is seeing it, I try to ensure from my side to give absolute top quality, 100% quality content. Okay, something which is accurate, something which is useful. That's what I try to do. So please avoid these kind of rude comments, because that just shows you as somebody who has absolutely no empathy. There is one more comment. Somebody said, I don't like your bald head, wear a hat when you're recording. If you think body shaming is fashionable, you need to get a reality check, because when you get into the professional world, trust me, you will get into trouble, and I would want you to get into trouble, because only then you will learn, get a reality check कि अगर तुम किसी को body shame करते हो. Some people on some of the stories said, that was in Maharashtra, काला बोलते हैं. You call somebody काला and I bet you will be kicked out of your job. You call somebody kala, you racially abuse somebody, you will be thrown out of your job. You people don't realize it. I don't know what kind of education you get in your schools. Let me say this very clearly, because it agitates me so much. Not because somebody calls me bald, but the fact is that if you racially abuse somebody, you will get into trouble. So get your act together now. Get your act together in the sense that you need to ensure that you follow the right manners. I would want parents to see this, what I'm saying right now, because you need to get your sons and daughters not to speak this kind of third-rate gutter language. You call somebody kala, you call somebody ganja, you body shame someone, trust me, you will be getting a memo from your HR manager in your office. You will. Today's India and today's world is very, very sensitive about these kind of matters. And let me tell you one more thing. I wish and pray you don't have somebody who's suffering from cancer at your home. Do you know when somebody undergoes chemotherapy, what happens to them? Have you seen somebody undergoing chemotherapy, someone who is suffering from cancer? I have. Right now, I have. They lose their hair. They become like this. So if you don't know someone's story, including mine, you jolly well keep your mouth shut. I frankly know these kind of things put me off completely, and I am with this academic year, I'm done with this absolute nonsense that is thrown just because you have the pleasure, the comfort of anonymity ki kuch bhi bol do, kya farak padta hai kind of thing. Say this to your teachers at school, and I would want to know what happens at your school. As I said, this is not my primary job. I get up at 3:45 in the morning. I got up at 3:45, study at 4:30 today morning to do this kind of work. It does not get me anything. I don't have to do this. I really don't have to do this. Now, this is from the specimen paper of 2025. Can I see the manager? I said, and added solemnly. Solemnly ka matlab in a very grave kind of tone, alone. So he's insisting on what? Privacy, that I want to meet him in private. I don't want anyone else to overhear my conversation. So when you're reading the comprehension passage, ensure that you understand the tonality, understand the sense that is being conveyed in that passage, because some of the questions can be asked, especially the long answers would ask you to comment on the sense that is being conveyed. So you immediately get the sense that he wants some kind of privacy. He doesn't want anyone to overhear their conversation. I don't know why I said alone, but he himself is confused. So it comes across, while he comes across as someone who seeks privacy, at the same time, he comes across as someone who is a bit confused. Certainly, said the accountant and fetched him. The manager was a grave, calm man. Grave means he's a very serious kind of a person. This is making so much of sound. Okay. I held my $56 clutched in a crumpled ball in my pocket. Now, what does this mean? Clutched. When you hold something very tight, it indicates a sense of tension, a sense of anxiety, a sense of nervousness. In a crumpled ball, again, crumpled means there is a lot of tension, because of which you have crumpled those notes. in my pocket. So just keep making a mental note of what all things you are learning about the personality of the person, even without the author actually saying it in so many words. Are you the manager? I asked. God knows I did not doubt it. Yes, he said. Can I see you alone? I asked. Now you see, the reason why I'm telling this to you in detail is that if you're while you're reading, if you're able to make these mental notes, because in some cases the invigilator may not allow you to scribble while you are reading during the 15 minutes of reading time. So make a mental note so that it will be useful for you in the long question and answers. The manager looked at me in some alarm. He was a little surprised at the request. He felt that I had an awful secret to reveal. Come in here, he said, and led the way to a private room. He turned the key in the lock, so he agreed to meet him alone. We are safe from interruption here. No one will come here, he said. Sit down. We both sat down and looked at each other. I found no voice to speak. You're one of Pinkerton's men, I presume, he said. Now, Pinkerton, obviously, it's some kind of group in that town. We don't know about, at least it's not explained here, but he assumes that he is one of them. He had gathered from my mysterious manner that I was a detective. So maybe Pinkerton is a detective. I knew what he was thinking. So you are unraveling. It's what, when you're reading a comprehension unseen passage, it's like peeling the layers of the onion. One by one, you will get details and make a note of it. Okay, the outer layer was very dark shade of pink and brown, maybe a little gray. And then you peel it, then you reveal more lighter shades of pink. So you're getting to know more and more. I knew what he was thinking and it made me worse. No, not from Pinkerton's. I said seeming to imply. Imply means seeming to indicate. He's kind of, that's what imply here is being said in a slightly negative kind of manner, seeming to imply that I came from a rival agency. So he's kind of hinting which may not really be true. Here also, he's kind of implying which may not really be the truth. To tell the truth, I went on as if I had been prompted to lie about it. I am not a detective at all. I have come to open an account. I intend to keep all my money in this bank. The manager looked relieved but still serious. He concluded now that I was a son of Baron Rothschild or a young gold. See, this is the problem. Sometimes the alphabets, the words go a little misty. A large account, I suppose, he said. Fairly large, I whispered. I propose to deposit $56 now and $50 a month regularly. So that's the plan. Now, the moment he says $56, which obviously is not a very huge amount, the manager got up and opened the door. So that was the reaction of the manager the moment he heard that he intended. Because, we may think 56 into 86, 87, which is the dollar to rupee exchange now. But when you go to USA, for them $56 is like our 56 rupees. At least mentally, that's how they look at it. The manager got up and opened the door. He called to the accountant, Mr. Montgomery. He said unkindly loud. Now, unkindly loud is that it's a loud sound and it does not have a very pleasant, polite or kind tone. This gentleman is opening an account. He will deposit $56. Good morning, I rose. A big iron door stood open at the side of the room. Good morning, I said, and stepped into the safe. Come out, said the manager coldly and showed me the other way. So this is the way. This passage is important because this is the way the manager reacts the moment he comes to know that this gentleman wants to deposit $56 in the account. I went up to the accountant's wicket. Now, wicket is the gate, the cabin, kind of a small enclosed space where the money is exchanged, given, deposited, or taken out, and poked the ball of money at him with a quick convulsive movement. Convulsive, kind of a jerky, sudden movement, as if I were doing a conjuring trick. Conjuring is like a magician, the kind of tricks that they do. My face was ghastly pale. Now, you would be seeing words which you may not really be very familiar with. That's why I said it is up to an individual, whether you are familiar, what kind of reading habit you have, whether your vocabulary is decent or not. Here, I said deposited. The tone of the word seemed to mean, let us do this painful thing while the fit is on us. He took the money and gave it to another clerk. He made me write the sum on a slip and sign my name in a book. I no longer knew what I was doing. The bank swam before my eyes. Now, bank is almost like, he's almost as if he's feeling a bit delirious. Swam, it's almost like a movement kind of thing. When jab sar chakrata hai, right? So you kind of feel a little bit a sense of delirium. That's the kind of sense that is being conveyed. Is it deposited? I asked in a hollow, vibrating voice. So which means he's not, his voice is a little hollow. It's not something which is, it's almost as if he needs water. It's a bit dry. It is vibrating also conveys a sense of trepidation. Trepidation bole to ek tarah ki ghabrahat. Vibrating, when you are a little shaky, your voice also kind of shakes. That's the kind of sense that is being conveyed. Then I want to draw a check. My idea was to draw out $6 of it for present use. So out of the 56, he wanted to withdraw $6 and leave the remaining $50 in the account. Someone gave me a checkbook through a wicket and someone else began telling me how to write it out. The people in the bank had the impression that I was an invalid millionaire. Now, what is an invalid millionaire? I will explain that in the answer, because a question has been asked specifically about it and I subsequently realized that in the specimen key, they also give the answer. So, but when I read the answer, I don't think that was really the perfect way of writing an answer. I've given my answer. You please have a look at it. I wrote something on the check and thrust it in at the clerk. He looked at it. What are you drawing it all out again? He asked in surprise. Then I realized that I had written 56 instead of 6. So since he is nervous, so immediately you get the impression, you realize that this person is not a very calm, cool, sorted kind of person. He's a little jittery, right? I had a feeling that it was impossible to explain the thing. I had too far gone to reason now. Reason now means to argue now or to explain what had been done. I had burnt my boats. Burnt my boats means the damage had been done. Galti ho chuki thi, right? I had burned my boats. I had kind of spoiled my relationship in a sense. All the clerks had stopped writing to look at me. So, because of what he had done, everyone kind of reacted and everyone's eyes were on him. Reckless with misery. Reckless with misery means, doing something which is not supposed to be done. I made a plunge. Yes, the whole thing. So he decided that since he's asking like that, I will say. So he realized that he's not someone who thinks too deeply before saying something. Also, he doesn't know how to get out of that situation in a calm manner. You withdraw all your money from the bank, every cent of it. Are you not going to deposit anymore? Said the clerk, astonished, never. So again, he has not given it much thought. He's being very impulsive in the manner is the same, which is why I say, as you are reading, keep making these mental notes. Train your mind to do that. An idiot hope struck me that they might think something had insulted me while I was writing the check. Now here, this is an interesting phrase. Idiot you normally use as a noun. He's an idiot. Very, very unparliamentary word. But anyway, that's the word in English. So that's how it is used. But here it has been used as an adjective, right? This is not a question here, but this could well have been a question. So when you are reading something like this, also see at the kind of different kind of forms of speech have been used. So here, idiot, which is normally used as a noun, has been used as an adjective out here, right? And that I had changed my mind. I made the wretched attempt to look like a man with a fearfully quick temper. The clerk prepared to pay the money. How will you have it? He said. This question came as a bolt from the blue. Bolt from the blue means achanak say something which was unexpected. What? How will you have it? How do you want to take the $56? Oh, I caught his meaning and answered without even trying to think. In 50s, he gave me a $50 bill or baki ke $6 and the 6 he asked in 6s. He gave me to me and I rushed out. Or as the big door swung behind me, I caught the echo of a roar of laughter. So everyone laughed at what he had done over the last few minutes in the bank, but he managed to hear it just as he was exiting the bank. The ceiling of the bank went up to the ceiling means it was tha ke laga ke has rahe the. Since then, I banked no more. I keep my money in cash in my trousers and my savings in silver dollars in a sock. Okay, so that's what. So you realize that he's probably not very rich if he's going to keep the loose change in a sock. Okay, so he's not really very well off, as is very apparent from the passage. This is written by Stephen Leacock. Okay. I remember reading a novel, one of the first novels that I read when I was in school by R.K. Narayan, which is called The Financial Expert. I still remember the main character was someone called Margaya, Margayya. Fantastic novel. I remember reading it on a train going from Delhi to Kerala. I remember reading it over that 2-day journey. Anyway, so find a single word from the passage that will exactly replace the highlighted word. In your exam, you'll get it underlined, but I put it as highlighted in capital letters. So the kind stranger went and got back. Went and got back, which means fetched. That's the word which is exactly fitting the ball. So the kind stranger fetched the ball from where it had rolled into the bush. So you need to take a passage, may say ek word, which will fit in this particular sentence. This is not from the text. This is a general sentence, but उसमें से एक word निकालना है जो कि यहाँ पर correctly fit होगा. I took offense at the expression on his face that was clearly meant to insinuate that I was a liar, right? Insinuate का मतलब कि झूठे तरीके से किसी को बताना. That insinuate means to label me as someone. तो यहाँ पर मैंने word बताया भी था while I was explaining the passage. The correct answer would be imply, that it was implying. That's what he was trying to imply. वो detective वाले passage में. The firm experienced a financial loss when the contract went to a contender. Contender means someone who is also kind of in the, जैसे ऑक्शन में होता है ना, चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स भी एक प्लेयर के लिए ऑक्शन में करेगा, आरसीबी भी करेगा, दिल्ली कैपिटल्स भी करेगा. सो दे आर ऑल कंटेंडर्स, दे आर राइवल्स at the auction, right? So that is the correct word. So this is the first question. If you do this correctly, you get 3 marks. Then this is the more difficult one because you need to pay more attention to this, and I would strongly recommend you try to do it in the 15 minutes of reading time itself. But when you are doing it, उससे पहले एक बार फिर से check करके करना. Okay, go back to the passage and read it. So alarm. Okay, now what you need to do is that choose the correct sentence that uses the same word unchanged in spelling but with a different meaning from that which it carries in the passage. So alarm, which is in line 8. The silence from the other end set off alarm bells in her head. The pallor of her skin alarmed those standing around. The color. I set my alarm for 6 o'clock but slept through it. The sound of the approaching jets caused some alarm. So alarm का क्या है? To cause some kind of, ऐसा हो रहा है. तो D में वही सेंस है, इसमें भी सेट अलार्म का भी वही सेंस है, सेट ऑफ अलार्म बेल्स पे ये है. दिस वन अलार्म हैज बीन यूज्ड एज अ नाउन, अलार्म क्लॉक. ओके, तो यहां पर C इज द राइट आंसर बिकॉज यू हैव बीन आस्क्ड टू से बट विद अ डिफरेंट मीनिंग फ्रॉम दैट व्हिच इट कैरीज इन द पैसेज. So you basically need to choose the odd one out. The second one, a little tricky. Wicket. The wicket keeper was the true savior of the day for that one match. Now यहाँ पर अलग use किया है. I don't know how they have done it. Ideally, they should have used wicket only and not wicket keeper in that sense. Okay, the team wanted to bat while the wicket was still dry. The man at the window handed us our tickets through the wicket. Now here you see the cashier, the accountant was inside the wicket. So this is being used in the same sense. D. The quick loss of wickets demoralized the team. So these are all being used. But ये वाला जो wicket है, it is referred to, if you know your cricket, it means it is referring to the pitch. It is referring to the pitch, not to the wickets in that sense. So the correct answer would be B. Wicket means the pitch. Third one, reason. After the tragedy, his ability to reason is severely diminished. Reason means to kind of explain himself and argue in some way in a gentle manner. The reasoned, again, it is being used in the same way. Recipients of funds were selected without rhyme or reason. And the fourth one, we have every reason to celebrate. Okay, we have every reason to celebrate. So yahan par it is being used as a noun. So correct answer is D. Here it is being used more in the form of an idiom. Answer the following questions as briefly as possible in your own words. What I told you in the things that you need to bear in mind in your own words is important. Okay. Now, with reference to the passage, I think I'll go a little far from the screen. I'm not able to read it comfortably. With reference to the passage, explain the meaning of the expression of the I had burned my boats. What I told you, एक idiom में से एक question आएगा 2 marks का. I had burned my boats means doing something that makes it very difficult or impossible to return to the previous situation. Here it signifies that the narrator could not go back on his decision. तो एक लाइन ये भी लिख दीजिए, सिंस 2 मार्क का है, कि इस पैसेज में इसका क्या मतलब है and what it exactly means. So you need to know, which is why I said the idioms are very important. You need to be clever about in what sense it has been used. Cite any 2 instances of the behavior of the bank employees that indicate the insignificance of a deposit of $56. Now, see carefully. There are 2 instances you need to return, right? I think I've written 3. When the narrator revealed that he proposed to deposit $56 now and $50 a month regularly, the bank manager got up and opened the door for the narrator to leave. He called the accountant in an unkindly loud tone. So what I said, ये सारा मैंने खुद लिखा है, but unkindly loud tone, you need to take it from the passage because that's a key phrase. And asked the narrator to come out in a cold tone and showed him the way out. That is the first instance, because the moment he heard that he had to deposit only $56. When the narrator was withdrawing the amount, the clerk sarcastically asked the denomination in which he wanted, because 56 है तो उसमें denomination में $1 करके थोड़ी देगा. So it was being sarcastic, because when you generally withdraw a large amount, then you say, do you want it in 500 rupee notes? आजकल तो 1000 or 2000 नहीं है. But earlier when 1000 rupee note, you wanted 1000 or 500 or 200, you will ask, right? But here 56 में क्या पूछना? So he is being a little sarcastic out there. The narrator's exit was followed by a roar of laughter, the manner in which the entire interaction had gone with that particular employee. Why do you think the people in the bank thought of the narrator as an invalid millionaire? What I mentioned. Now, here when you get a thing like this, which is not a normal kind of phrase, I would advise you to explain what it means. Okay, so an invalid millionaire refers to a wealthy person who is physically or mentally unwell. In the story, the bank staff likely thought the narrator was an invalid millionaire because of his pale face, nervous behavior, and erratic actions. You know, the way he was behaving, what I explained to you while we were reading the passage, that he's not behaving in a very normal kind of manner. Like depositing a small amount of money with great seriousness and almost secrecy, he wants to meet him alone, and then immediately withdrawing it. His eccentric and strange conduct made them assume that he was rich, but suffering from some illness which is affecting his conduct or behavior. So this is also my advice to you would be, always explain if it is some kind of a term which may not really be very clearly understood. Now let's come to the summary. Okay, the summary. This is not what is there in your this thing. This is what I have written, and I mean you need to put it in a grid. I've not put it in a grid here because it's very difficult to make it out here. So you need to make it in a grid with 100 boxes and then write it. My advice to you would be, write the answer first, count the words, and then fit it into the boxes. So make a rough grid and then make a fair grid so that you have. So in fact, I would say thrice. Write the answer, put it in a rough grid, see whether it's fitting in, और उसमें से थोड़ा add या subtract कुछ करना हो, exactly 100 words रखो. The narrator decided to bank no more due to a sense of embarrassment. This is 13 words. After depositing $56 with great anxiety, 56 को preferably numerals में मत लिखना. Okay, write it in words. He intended to withdraw only $6, but mistakenly wrote a check for the entire amount. This is 24 words. Realizing the error, he was too flustered to correct. Now, flustered is something which I have this thing, which means, you know, a little agitated kind of a thing. To correct it, fearing further ridicule. Again, everything is in my words. When the clerk questioned him, the narrator, feeling trapped, confirmed he wanted to withdraw all the money and declared he would never deposit again. 24 words. His awkward behavior attracted attention as he rushed out, laughter erupted in the bank. 15 words. Perhaps feeling, because we are not sure whether he actually felt humiliated, which is why I have deliberately used the word perhaps, because we are not sure. There's nothing in the passage that tells us very clearly that he felt insulted. Okay, he may well have been, which is why I've used perhaps. Perhaps feeling humiliated, he resolved never to use a bank again, is the final line. So this is exactly 100 words. Okay, so I hope this gives you an idea about how to approach it, what to look out for, what are the things that you need to be mindful of one day before the examination. And I do hope that you can practice a couple of comprehension passages so that you are in some way comfortable with how to deal with the 20-mark comprehension passage, which includes a summary also. Okay, tata, bye bye. Thank you very much.